Welcome to JPeak Tales. Witness the stories carved into the very stone of our land. Feel the magic, share the peace, and subscribe to journey with us into the heart of the savannah.
Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Let his truth set you free today.
Amen.
Nobody in Umudara village knew that the man they respected more than anyone was carrying a secret that could destroy everything. Pastor Elijah was not just a pastor. To many people, he was a prophet, a counselor, a father, and almost a saint. Every Sunday, people traveled from neighboring villages to hear him preach. The church sat beside a small river surrounded by tall trees. At night, crickets sang loudly while mysterious stories moved from one mud house to another. But behind the smiles, behind the powerful sermons, Pastor Elijah was hiding something. And only one person knew, his wife. Mama Grace had known her husband's secret for years. Many nights she cried alone, while Pastor Elijah sat quietly outside staring into the darkness. She wanted to leave many times, but she feared disgrace. She feared what people would say. Most importantly, she feared destroying the church they had built together. So she remained silent. Every day she carried a burden nobody knew. Among the church members was a young man called Samuel. Samuel was active in church activities. He was always around the pastor, helping him, following him, spending time with him. At first, nobody noticed. But after some time, people started talking. Why was Samuel always with Pastor Elijah? Why did the pastor seem unusually protective of him? Nobody had answers. A choir member named Daniel began noticing strange things. One evening after choir practice, he saw Pastor Elijah and Samuel speaking privately behind the church building. The moment they noticed Daniel, they suddenly stopped talking and walked away. Something felt wrong. Daniel could not explain it, but his heart told him there was more to the story. Days passed. Daniel continued observing. He noticed Samuel often receiving phone calls from the pastor late at night. Sometimes Samuel disappeared for hours without explanation. The more Daniel watched, the more suspicious he became. One night he decided to find out the truth. No matter what it cost, the opportunity came on a rainy evening. Daniel saw Samuel quickly leaving his house after receiving a phone call. Moments later, Pastor Elijah arrived in his vehicle. Samuel entered. They drove away. Daniel secretly followed on a motorcycle. The road led toward the city. His heart beat faster. He felt as if he was walking into something dangerous. Eventually, the vehicle stopped outside a hotel. Daniel hid nearby. He watched carefully. Pastor Elijah and Samuel entered the hotel together. Daniel could not believe his eyes. He waited, then quietly approached the reception area. He showed the receptionist a photo of the pastor. "Did this man check in here?" The receptionist nodded. Yes. Daniel felt the ground beneath him shake. Before entering the hotel, Daniel had secretly recorded videos and taken photographs. Now he had proof, real proof. Not rumors, not assumptions. Proof. His hands trembled as he looked at the footage. He knew this information could change many lives. The next morning, Daniel met Elder Joseph, one of the church leaders. At first, the elder refused to believe him. Pastor Elijah, impossible. But Daniel showed him the evidence. The elder's face turned pale. Silence filled the room. For several minutes, nobody spoke. The truth was too heavy. That evening, the church leadership held an emergency meeting. The atmosphere was tense. Some cried, some prayed. Some denied everything, but the evidence was impossible to ignore. Finally, they agreed to confront the pastor. Nobody slept that night. Sunday arrived. The church was full. Children played outside. Women arranged chairs. Men discussed village matters. Nobody knew a storm was about to explode. Pastor Elijah climbed the altar and began preaching. His voice echoed through the building. Then suddenly, Elders Joseph, "Stop right there."
Stop right there.
The elders stood up. The congregation became silent. The church leaders walked toward the altar. Pastor Elijah looked confused. "Elder, what is happening?" Daniel stepped forward. His hands shook. Then he displayed the evidence. The entire church froze. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. It felt like time itself had stopped. Women covered their mouths. Men stared in disbelief. Some began crying. Others refused to believe what they saw. The church that once felt peaceful suddenly became filled with confusion. People who trusted Pastor felt betrayed. Their hero was no longer the man they thought he was. Then something unexpected happened. Mama Grace stood up. Tears streamed down her face. For years she had remained silent, but now she could remain silent no longer. "Yes," she said softly. "I knew." The entire church gasped. She explained everything. The years of pain, the years of pretending, the years of carrying the secret alone. Many people cried with her. Pastor Elijah lowered his head. For the first time in many years, he stopped pretending. He admitted that he had been living a double life. He admitted he had hidden the truth. The church became completely silent. Even the birds outside seemed to stop singing. The church leaders made their decision. Pastor Elijah was removed from leadership immediately. The announcement spread across Umudara village like wildfire. People gathered in groups, discussing the shocking news. The man who once stood above everyone had fallen. But the story did not end there. As more information surfaced, villagers discovered other hidden issues within the church administration. Financial records were missing. Promises had been broken. Many people realized they had followed a man without questioning anything. The scandal became a lesson for the entire village. Months later, the church stood almost empty. Many members left. Some lost their faith completely. Others struggled to trust again. But Elder Joseph refused to give up. Slowly, he began rebuilding the church, one family at a time, one prayer at a time, one service at a time. An old village elder stood beneath a giant tree one evening and spoke words nobody forgot. "Never worship a human being. Respect people, yes, but only God should sit on the throne of your heart." Those words spread throughout the village. Children repeated them. Parents taught them. The lesson remained long after the scandal disappeared. Years later, people still remembered the story of Pastor Elijah, not because of his sermons, not because of his popularity, but because of the secret that destroyed everything he built. The river continued flowing. The forest remained standing. The village moved forward. But one lesson remained forever. No secret stays hidden forever. One day, the truth always finds its way into the light. And when it does, the consequences can change lives forever. What would you have done if you were Daniel? Would you have exposed the truth or remained silent? Comment your thoughts below and subscribe for more stories.